David Vizard here, and you, my friends, are watching PowerTec 10. In this episode, I'm going to continue with the Mustang wheel saga. If you followed our earlier episodes on wheel selection, then you will know that there was quite a bit to it to make a good selection.
David and I are burning the midnight oil. I'm actually over here at David's putting the rear tires that he bought on the back of his Mustang. We're going to have some fun tonight. As you can see, there's his new wheel and tire combo for his Ecoboost Mustang. So the plan is we're going to take it out and go do some draggy testing, see how it improves over the last time we did it. You'll have to go back and watch that video that's up there, but it should be a pretty good time. So yeah, let's go see what this thing does. So we're getting ready to take this thing out and go do some draggy testing. What do you think it's going to do, Dave?
I hope we break the 5 seconds to 60, and I hope we break the 2 seconds to 60 foot.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Now, we've got conditions outside which we need to do very little correction for.
And this gear, or this tire swap, represents how much of a gear?
A 3.15 original, 3.31.
Okay.
So it's 6%.
So it reduced it by 6%,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
6% lower. This is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And we have good weather to do it in, since it's
dry.
nighttime.
Yeah, it's dry, nighttime, and our correction factor is only going to be minuscule. We're correcting to 77 degrees, and it's about, what, 74?
Yeah, something like that. So,
Right.
all right, well, let's hit the road.
Right, here we go.
Good stuff.
Here, so you get the Mustang out, won't you? Here's the wheel, looks pretty good on. Just fits the tread. It's just inside the wheel well here. And the bulge on the tire is just about 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16 outside. So we won't have too much problem splashing. So, looks-wise, I'm well pleased. We're now going to test.
So I want to do it the way.
See if you can do a little burnout first.
I just think got some brakes.
Okay, not too much, because that's when it cuts out.
Alright. No, I turned the traction control off.
Oh, okay.
So I got it in drag mode.
Yep.
I'm going to bring up some boost. You ready?
Yep.
We got a good one.
60. Boy, I like that.
Holy crap.
What?
Went 865 with both of us in the car.
Well,
So 13.48.
what, for the quarter?
Mm-hmm.
If we'd have gone on. What's the 60 time?
2.13.
That's not any faster. We're carrying 2 people.
That's right.
Right, I'm going to let you do it.
We
Again.
ran 82.58 miles per hour. I'll have to go back and look at.
We ran 79 point something on the
Yeah.
drag strip.
So that's pretty substantial.
What did we get for the 8th time wise?
8.65.
Oh, I've got to correct it up.
Alright, so what's getting ready to happen is David is going to get out. I'm going to make a pass by myself, and then when he gets back, then he'll make a pass, and we'll go from there.
Yep.
I mean, this thing is running pretty hard considering.
Right, here, let me just jump out.
Alright.
Now, I think it's the first 6 inches that we have to worry about.
Yeah. if we get that down, everything else will be cake. So what I'm going to do is clean the tires off just slightly once again. Alright. We'll see. Alright, so what's your impressions after, well, the wheels?
They definitely hook up better, and the car noticeably accelerates faster. Part of that's going to be due to the weather, but we'll correct out of that. But we have achieved our 0 to 60 in 5 seconds flat.
That's a big deal.
But the fact we've got more traction makes the wobbly bit coming off the line, where it's flexing all the subfront, worse. So next step, put in the hard bushes.
Yeah, get rid of the wheel hop.
BMR suspension.
Yeah, these things, they just make the car pop, in my opinion, as far as how the wheels look. But those Continental tires seem to do the job, don't they?
Yeah.
So there you have it. Let's take a look and see what we come up with.
So let's take a moment and see how well we've met our goals here. Now let me just quickly run through the primary ones here. And that was to lower the car, to get it more applicably geared for our quarter mile, and to get better traction, and to have it look good. So it's totally up to you whether you think it looks good or not, because everybody has a different taste. Personally, I think the wheels look great. Give me your opinion in the content. Now let's look at the functional side of things. We did all this midnight skullduggery on the piece of road that we're doing it on is on our development, which is about 50 acres with only about a dozen houses on it. And we've got if I count to the proper road as my driveway, I've got about, I would say, somewhere around about 1,000 yards, of which about 850 of that are straight. So we're not, as such, we're not really on public road. We're on private road dedicated to the public. And by the time Andy and I did those tests, we were, it was late at night, and fortunately the car's not very loud. And the other fortunate thing is everybody's got their houses set well back from the road, so hopefully we didn't disturb a single soul. But let's get back to the crux of the matter here. I'm going to quote you some performance numbers, but I'm not going to put graphs in. I'm trying to get this video up tonight because I've got an important one to start on tomorrow. So please forgive me, no charts and graphs, but here's a rundown on what we achieved so far. First off, the Continental's grip. The highest G before wheel spin was about 0.05 G higher. That's maybe 0.06. So that was plus right there. And the Firestones that come on the car aren't bad. Now, I think we would pull higher Gs if we didn't have this axle or transaxle twist on the final drive. The good news is that after corrections, and normally I correct to the nearest tenth of a second, the 5 second reading we got, yes, 5 seconds, 0 to 60. reading we got corrects to 5 seconds, because even corrected it was like 5.01. So it corrects out to 5. The second two correct to 5.1. They were 5.04 and 5.06. So it was times we could back up. Now, they would have been better, but for one single reason. The axle, the wheel movement of the subframe and all was now more aggressive, noticeably more. When the car came off the line, you could hear it going zit, 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 like this is it. Grip, slipped, grip, slipped. So I'm going to make a bet. If we can get rid of that axle hop, as they call it, it's more like forward and back rather than a hop. We're going to see a 4.9. That's my bet. 4.90 to 60. Now, let's talk about other aspects here of that wheel and tire combination. First off, I was going to take it to the track tonight to do some testing, but the rain's forecast, so we got to drive 50 miles to get to the track. We're not going to go if there's even a half-assed chance of rain. It's just too expensive, too much waste of a time, and I could be doing something else. So forget that, but now let's look at the lowering. Yes, we dropped the car by just about an inch, so we achieved that. Secondly, well actually more like fifthly, I was expecting those Continentals to be a rougher ride, and neither Andy nor I could detect anything for sure that it had changed from the Firestones which were on there, and I was quite happy with those Firestones. I thought it was a pretty good tire, especially as that what was put on by the factory. So our Continentals have scored in two areas: more acceleration and more cornering power. Again, I said didn't get to the track, but I've got some local roads with some pretty tight bends on, and I know them well. So I kind of tried it around there, not going flat out or anything, but fast, and they feel really well planted. Steering response was good, and that was actually the first thing that both Andy and I commented on, was when you turn the wheel, the car turns. I'm thinking I'm going to be out on the track on a track day, and I'm coming into a bend, and I see a guy on front brake, and of course I brake way later than him, and I come into the bend and I turn in under him, and I'm probably going faster than he's going. And now I feel confident in doing that because there's no hint of understeer at the speeds I tried it. Now understeer, that's the correct term for pushing. The car understeers. In other words, you turn the wheels, but it doesn't turn as sharp as you turn the wheels. It understeers, so it wants to go on, i.e. plowing. Now, understeer on the car regularly was minimal. On the Firestones, it was not evident at all on the Continentals. Now let's move on. Let's say we're good on the 0 to 60. Oh, the reason I know that it's the suspension not doing its thing, putting the peripheral force of the tire down to the road, is because the 60 foot time hasn't got any better to any significance. We did maybe 4 or 5 runs there, and we got times which were very, very similar to the ones we had on the Firestones, but they were a rougher start. So we're convinced that the 60 foot times will drop when we control the diff housing so that we don't get that, or as much of that surge. Now let's see, where else need I go here? Oh yes, 1/8 mile time, 1/4 mile time, and speeds. We definitely got into the 8s for the 1/8 mile. I mean, well into the 8s. Corrected, let me see, about, I think we went from 9.14, I think it was, but all of our runs were now in the 8s. Typically 8 point, after correction, 8.8, 8.82, 8.83, every one. We did have one run where we got a good start. We couldn't replicate it. Now, what it did is it still had a poor 60 foot time, but just at the end of that 60 foot time, it got really planted and made the 8th mile in better fashion. And we actually did an 8.74, but we couldn't replicate it. So let's take our 8.8s as being about normal. So that tire change has represented 0.3 of a second on the 8th mile. On the quarter mile, that was the one that had the good start on the 8th mile, the one we did the 8.74, and we turned a 13.48 corrected at 90, just a tad under 99 miles an hour in the lights. And that was with 2 of us in. If we've got our suspension mods on by then, I think we're pretty sure to get 100 miles an hour and a 13.4. Fingers crossed. So have we made any improvements with just the wheels and tires and things? You betcha we have, right? So we can say this project so far has been absolutely on the money. This is what we expected it to do with careful considerations all round, and it worked. To sum up here, we've got some bigger tires on the car, we've got some fancy looking wheels, we've got the car lowered and accelerating faster, all for the purchase of the right wheels. Just think how much money you've got to spend to get engine mods to do this, right? It's a lot. And you still haven't, you've only got engine mods, no one sees that. If you want some good looking wheels and you want to go faster, you just do what I've told you to do here and you'll be good. Next move, we are going to put on the suspension parts we've got from BR, whatever the suspension parts were, and I'm hoping that that does a lot to fix our start. After that, where are we going? Well, if we get that fixed, or reasonably fixed, what I'm going to do next is we're going to put the final drive in. Now, that's 3.7 instead of the 3.15. That's a considerable lowering of the gear ratio. I figure that we may actually need to go up on wheel size slightly, and because we'll have a more appropriately geared car, but we could do with more tire. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to see if I can get the 9.5 inch wheels I've got and get them in 10.5, which will go in the back if you get the right spacing, and put on a 295 35 18 tire, so that we're going to have a tire that's probably around about an inch wider than what we've, 3/4 an inch wider than what we've got. But it'll take some careful spacing and it will fill that rear wheel arch. And then that's how we will do the basic test for road racing. So there you have it for this episode concerning our Ecoboost. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next video, which is going to be about 1,000 horsepower big block. Gotta see that one. Thank you for watching.